everyone. As we already discussed about the different techniques of microscopy or standardization of in the laboratory parameters. But we know that our most of the we are working on the mostly on the raw material or simple products. So the basic thing is the raw material quality of raw material. So the raw material quality start from the sowing of the seeds. So now here are some points I will discuss with you and share with you that how to, my topic is that how to ensure the quality in raw material and ASO and its drugs. So uh, that we already refreshed with the tea, and when we talk about the tea, that the main ingredients is the water, tea, milk, sugar. These are the essential part of the any tea preparation. And secondly, we require equipment, processing, and serving. When we talk about the equipment for the tea, we know that we required energy, means fire or utensils, tea cups, or the process is boiling and adding the ingredient. It's adding the ingredient. We can say that is the value addition. Or after these processing, we can enjoy the sip of the tea. This so the main object is coming now on mind is that is the quality. So after taking this tea, can we feel that we are refreshed or not? So what is the wisdom of this factor? We can discuss that quality. That everything our life start with the quality. The things which are we are taking is it quality or have not quality? So the quality is divided basically in the compositions factors. The compositions its ingredients, equipment, process, value addition, and service. And the factor is material that which kind of material we are using and what is the machinery we are using and method that SOPs and what protocol we are using for our processing. And all are depend on the man because we are the person who is controlling everything. That from the material to machine and method, everything comes under us. So, can we control or ensure the quality? This is the question arising in our mind that control or not. And why do we wish to control or ensure the quality? Because we want us our the drug which we have has safe or have efficacy in the drugs. So, how can we ensure the quality, safety, and efficacy in drugs by adopting the quality standard of the raw material or with the help of process? So these are the some points or factor which help us to control the ASU and H drugs, quality of the ASU and H drugs. That is the good agriculture practices, good collection practices, quality control of raw materials and their storage. It's maybe raw material or finished product, both are coming under this, and the good manufacturing process and all are controlling with the help of regulatory specifications. So we know that our raw drugs which are using in the AS1 system is basically, Madam already told that 90% of the material we are using, that is the raw material, is plant origin. Or in our system, we are using animal origin drugs, mineral or metal origin drugs, chemical origin drugs, and in homeopathy, microbes, nosode, and sarcodes origin drugs also we are using. So when we talk about the plant origin drugs, we can categorize it in two forms, that is the organized drugs or unorganized drugs. When we using the drugs in the cellular tissue or dried parts of the plant as such or whole in uh, after the collection, it comes under the organized drugs. That will be the bark, leaves, fruit, entire plant, anything. Or if we talk about the unorganized drugs, it's is prepared by the some intermediate or physical process like incision, drying, and extraction of the solvent. It is also the part of the plant origin, but their form is different. That will be the juice, that will be the latex, or some gelatins, or some essential oils, anything. Now, the plant origin drug resources, basically for the production of raw material, production of medicines, which we are using in Ayurveda, Unani or Siddha system, that the material we are getting from the two way. That is the cultivated process, or it may be the collection from the wild sources. When the difference with the cultivation limited to certain drugs, because whatever demand or what is in current demand is market, that is the limited, but the collection from the wild sources of course with the major supply, that it's have the lots of quantity or have main resources for the collection from the wild sources. And one of the major source for the collection or for the availability of the raw material is the commerce and market. Different raw drug markets also available in our country where we can purchase or buy the raw material for the production. So these are the resources where we can get the raw materials. Now the question is arising that how can we collect or can we procure the good raw material or quality raw material? So uh, the sources is that the good agriculture practices or the good field collection practices. So we here discuss about the little bit about the good agriculture practices and good collection practices. In the good agriculture practices, this is the definition. The context of the medicinal plants is cultivation program designed to ensure optimal yield in the terms of both quality or quantity. Any crop which is used for the medicinal purposes. So basically here is the focus on the quality material or the that quantity also. So these are the some gap activities included, that these are the some points which are the good agriculture practices part. That will be the site selection, soil, climatic conditions, seed propagation material, and crop management of the cultivation. When we talk about the site selection, that the place where we can grow or we can cultivate or uh, uh, plant developed area developing area, that is the site selection is first comes in our mind, that the site whatever we want to use for their cultivation, that will be the free from any kind of toxicity. It's far away from the industries area, hospitals and roadside area, because it's maybe chance to contamination. So the site selection is the prior point for this good agriculture practices. And then second is the soil and climatic condition. We know that the primary source of the any raw material or for the growing of the sample or quality material, that soil should be free from any kind of contamination, pesticides, or any type of the toxic ingredients which will be contain the soil. So the soil and climatic condition is proper should anything for the any raw materials. And seed propagation material, that it's maybe the seed we are cultivate our material with the help of the seed, stem cutting or root cutting. These are the processing for the raw materials development, and the crop management for the cultivation and management is the main part for all these points. So when we talk about the site selection or soil climatic condition, that the climatic condition, here's some example for the medicinal plant, that will be the neem, tulsi, brahmi, amla, or haritaki. These are the very popular in material which are using our system. That is, they are their preferred climatic condition is the that when we talk about the tulsi is the warm or tropical. That here this reason is good for the this cultivation. And hot and air dried neem is the neem or ficus or these some species which are can grow at any type of the climate. This is the suitable for this. So in this time for the environment conservation, we are using these plant trees for environmental condition also. And these brahmi, when we talk about the pecopa, that moist or temperate region is required for this. And for amla subtropical, tropical to tropical, and haritiki tropical to subtropical. This is the some example for the how which kind of climate condition is required for these types of the material or plant. And these are the some example also for the soil type, that we know that different type of soil available, that the soil is have contain gold quality of bicarbonate, have the good minerals of the soil, boron, every minerals which is required for the soils have proper soil condition. And before starting the any plantation, we have to ensure that their water and means irrigation using water or for the soil should be the uh, uh, any type free from the any type of toxic and have a good quality of the minerals, and their water quality should be also be good. So the proper documentation for the soils and water should be available with us. So the seed and propagation material, using quality seed, we have a proper documentation of seed, that which kind of seed we are using, and their proper description is should be documented, and the right season, and at per square area how much we are seedling is using for the growing of crop should be recorded, and their proper watering and whatever the connected relation for this the growing of or germination of the seed, we have to record it under this good agriculture practices. And these are some examples that which type of propagation material we are using for the raw materials, that bulb for garlic or like if the material is, and then cones, tuber, rhizomes, runners, suckers, offset, stolon. These are the some propagations materials. And when we talk about the crop management or cultivation, then maintain moisture. That after the growing or sowing of the seed, during that time we have to monitor everything, that the uproot or uprooting the weeding out or time to time, proper pest control, that which kind of pesticide we are using, organic or inorganic, that what is their ratio, their timing, everything should be recorded and documented. So after the good agriculture process practices, the second part is coming, that quality assurance by the good field collection practices. That the definition is the context of the medicinal plant is harvesting and post-harvest management useful to for stakeholder dealing with the harvest, primary processing, drying, packaging, storage, and transportation. These all are points are coming under this process, and these are the activities which are included in this good field collection practices. That once again, that site selection coming, and then compliance to regulatory requirement, harvest correction management, post harvest management, means cleaning or sorting and drying process, packaging and storage, machinery and equipment used in the different operation, documentation for the identification, traceability, training, monitoring, workers health, safety, welfare, record keeping, internal assessment, internal inspection. These all points is a part of the good fit field collection practices. Now the site, when we talk about the site selection in this regard, collection the collection process, we have to choose the location with diverse habitat, including forest or grassland or wetland. As we already discussed, if we want, look, if we selected that which kind of the material we want, that comes under the good agricultural practices and area which we selected. But when we want different type of trees or different type of the plant material, definitely we go through the wild collection processes. So we have to aware that which plant or which what is the requirement for the development or for the standard development or for the production. We have to ensure that where from we have to collect the raw material, and the consider the factor that what is their altitude, soil types, and climate for the documentation. Whenever we will start for the collection, we have to aware that the identification, that we have to ensure or prepare a list, that which plant, which material, or which type of species we require, and we have prior knowledge that how can we identify. And when we go for the survey tour, or whenever we go for the collection, we have to aware that what is their macroscopy, and how can we find their authentication or identification with the help of the any type of it's maybe any type of standard books, it may be taxonomic book, or it may be the herbarium seeds, but have to aware that that how is their morphology before the collections. And these are the some harvest collection management, that in the collection management, uh, that we have to uh, harvest the right stage, that we have to aware that if you want to collect bark or flower or fruit, whatever the part we require, that their stage should be the right, that at which stage we want to collect it. So right space, right way, that how to collect the materials, and in the dry weather is required for the survey or collection tour, or for the during the collection. So collect only the mature health plants and avoid rare and endangered species, because uh, it's our prior duty to conserve the environment, and leave enough plants for the natural regeneration. Whenever we collect any sample, we have to try that we have collect 70 to 80% of the uh, required material, or rest them we have to free for the after the collection. The post harvest management is that cleaning, that whenever we collect the material, we have to ensure that the material should be free from the any kind of the soil or other adulteration, means other part which are not part of the raw material or the required material. It should be help with the help of sorting or with the cleaning, or all the drying procedure comes in the post harvest management. We have to wash the material in proper way. One or two time washing is required, and drying procedure, that we have to ensure that the material should dry at the proper temperature, that which is the material, that the part used, maybe flower or leaf, it should be dry in the shade dry, or for the bark we can use the sunlight in the initial time, and again then we dry it the shade dry. And for if the material is very delicate or बहुत soft है, then we have to go with the shade dry only. Now the packaging and storage. We have to ensure that we are using the whatever the gunny bag or packaging material should be free from any kind of contamination. It should be clear, and it should be free from any toxic material, and store the material in the proper way. We keep the material from above the door ground, and if the material is very much aromatic, should keep distance from the other materials. These are the practices, and the following parameters for the storage purposes. And when we talk about the machinery and equipment used for the different operations, that with the during the collection of the process, we know that we need stickers and weights, levels, everything devices uh, can be kept in proper way with the list, that everything with us, and the maintain hygiene and prevent the contamination during the uh, collection process, and documentation of or and identification or traceability is the very much important during the survey and collection, because whenever we are going for the survey and collection, we have to ensure we kept the material after the collection in the different bags or sacks, that and keep the identification tags with each of the material, because whenever we are going for the survey and collection tour, we have the field book, that where we mention all the details, that their name, their common name, how is their uh, area biodiversity near the collected plant, and their altitude, or collected by with whom, or with have they have that four or five field tags, that we are faced with the every collected material. So after the collection, when we go with the other processing, that washing or drying, that time we will not be confused that the which material and from where we were collected. So these are the part of the all comes under the documentation, and packaging, container, labeling, or product name, plant part, month, year, harvest. These are the some specific points which we have to maintain during the documentation process. So now the training and monitoring, train the collector and maintain record, that who is the part of the survey crew should be aware that what we want, and what is our purpose, and how we will go step by step the process. All all the team members have to aware. So all have a trained worker. Then worker health, safety, welfare, record keeping, internal self assessment, internal inspection. These are also the part of the their parameters, because when we know that the collector, जब हम लोग किसी के भी साथ जाते हैं तो वी हैव टू अवेयर दैट कि जो हमारे साथ है वो सेफ रहे। जैसे एक पर्सन शुड बी ट्रेन्ड फॉर द फर्स्ट एड, कि अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो उसको पता है कि क्या हमको, एटलीस्ट वन को तो होना ही चाहिए कि जब ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस ही नो दैट हाउ टू वी ट्रीट द फर्स्ट एड, एंड क्या-क्या हमको प्रिकॉशंस लेना है। और ड्यूरिंग मतलब कलेक्शन के प्रोसेस के टाइम अगर जो हमारा टीम है हैव टू ऑल वन, मतलब कि उसका हेल्थ भी अच्छा होना चाहिए, उसको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो, क्योंकि लॉन्ग टर्म पे अगर हम जाते हैं या टूर पे जाते हैं तो सर्वे पे जाते हैं तो पहला जो होता है हम लोग का टीम जो होता है वो एकदम सेफ और हेल्दी होना चाहिए। Then we, after these processes, good agriculture or field collection, the things is from the quality assessment. Already we discussed about that. कि जो actually we are here discussing about the uh, pharmacopoeia standard at the level of the uh, standard preparation. हम लोग जो है जो हमारा मेन फोकस है फार्माकोपियल पैरामीटर डेवलपमेंट का, so we have to know that where we first start. That I already told that हम लोग का growing है little bit, लेकिन collection और survey tool is also the part of the system, and उसके बाद जो होता है the quality assessment, these both parameters comes under the standard or parameters. That standards may be the already published standards है, we can follow them, and when we talk about the parameters we can develop the in-house parameter for the assessment of the quality of the material. That these are the some protocol or samples analysis protocol that when we talk about the identity, these two points, that macro or microscopy and TLC or HPTLC, these points are comes under the identity. And when we talk about the purity, these three parameters, that's foreign matter, total S, and acid insoluble, it comes under the purity. And strength is alcohol soluble extractive, water soluble extractive, and acid total active phytoconstant. And other than other requirement is microbial load, aflatoxin, heavy metals, and pesticides. I am focusing here about the identification with the help of macro microscopy, but actually we already discussed and madam already explained about these parameters, that how can we identify the or authenticate the samples with the help of macro microscopy. And these remaining parameter will be discussed in upcoming lectures with the chemistry experts. Then macroscopy already you discuss, have to learn that and already explained by the ma'am, that with the help of our sensory organ, and these the parameter is basic, that color, shape, or size of texture is the main part of the any kind of identification of macroscopic. And these are the microscopic parameters, which is a part of the identification of any raw material or authentication of the material. Quality specifications, when we talk about the specification, that these are the some that if we talk about the regulatory specification, it may be standard of pharmacopoeia. Non-regular, if we talk about the non-regulatory, it may be the monographs, any kind which is not regulatory. It's any published books in the in the monograph forms is the research publication, bibliographic, manual or textbook, which we can take the help for the authentication of the raw material. So little bit we discussed about the pharmacopoeia, that actually pharmacopoeia is nothing that uh, a, a compilation of the monograph, a compilation of the standard. This is the maybe the different type of the definition have for the pharmacopoeia, but basically is the standard which comes in monograph form is comes under the pharmacopoeia. These are some are official pharmacopoeia. That is the Unani Siddha, and for the allopathy Indian pharmacopoeia, I think in the Indian pharmacopoeia 278 double drug monographs also available with them. This is our Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia of India. These are all our regulatory pharmacopoeias. This is Unani. Because we have one lecture with pharmacopoeia in upcoming section. This will be the details one. This is our atlas. So now we talk after the standardization process or authentication of the raw material, the point is come that reference material. That here you can see that a picture that the servant is confused that this egg is from which rat, that is the chick egg or goose egg. These types of confusion also coming with us during the process of any if the sample we receive without labeling and have no any identification clue, that time we are so much confused that what is this. So for this we have to develop our reference standard for the identification or for the help of the authentication of raw material. So when we talk about the reference standard, that reference standard is the primary reference substances that has the appropriate quality within a specified context and the accepted without recurring comparison to the another substances. एक्चुअली जब हम लोग ये काम कर रहे हैं, जब हमने स्टार्टिंग से कोई चीज़ सर्वे किया, कलेक्ट किया मटेरियल को, मतलब हम लोग खुद ही सर्वे पे गए, वहाँ से हमने एक फील्ड कलेक्शन में पूरी एंट्री, टोटल एंट्री उसको देकर, हमने वहाँ से मतलब अपना काम स्टार्ट किया। मतलब आइडेंटिफिकेशन भी हमने प्रॉपर किया कि विद द हेल्प ऑफ टैक्सोनॉमिकल की एंड उसके बाद हमने कलेक्शन किया, कलेक्शन के बाद पूरा गैप के और जीएफसी के जो भी है गुड फील्ड कलेक्शन के स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस को फॉलो किया। उसके बाद ड्राइंग वगैरह के बाद जब हम लोगों ने उसका विद द हेल्प ऑफ रेगुलेटरी और नॉन रेगुलेटरी व्हाटएवर पैरामीटर्स वी वर यूज्ड, तो उसके बाद हमने जो सैंपल ऑथेंटिकेट किया, तो वी हैव टू डेवलप अ रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड फॉर दिस आल्सो, क्योंकि इतना पैरामीटर होने के बाद जब हम लोगों के पास उसका प्रॉपर डिटेल हो गया, सपोज व्हेन एवर वी कलेक्टेड द सैंपल, हम लोगों को क्या होता है कि हम लोग जब सैंपल कलेक्शन करके आते हैं, तो वो सैंपल का एक पार्ट जो होता है वो प्रोग्नोसिस सेक्शन में जाता है, दूसरा पार्ट केमिस्ट्री सेक्शन में जाता है, थर्ड पार्ट इज microbiology section, and they do their parameters as per the pharmacopoeial standard parameters. तो हम लोग उसको करने के बाद उसके बाद हमारा जो डेटा तैयार होता है, वी हैव टू डेवलप अ reference standard. In future, whenever we received any samples for that authentication or for any purposes कि जो इससे related जो भी purpose है, तो हमारे पास क्या होता है, एक reference standard है for the comparison. So these all the collection that they are micro HPTLC whatever ये मतलब जो हमारे रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड हो सकते हैं वो केवल बॉटनिकली पैरामीटर हो सकते हैं, इसमें इंक्लूडेड द केमिकल पैरामीटर आल्सो और माइक्रोबायोलॉजिकल, इट्स डिपेंड ऑन देयर चॉइस, किसी का भी जो भी है जो करना है वो उतना कर सकता है। लेकिन क्योंकि अगर हम माइक्रोस्कोपिक की भी हमारी लाइब्रेरी है तो वो कभी कभी बहुत मतलब सपोर्ट करती है हमको ऑथेंटिकेशन के लिए। तो फर्दर प्रोसेस और जो आगे की प्रोसेस से अच्छा है कि हमको प्राइमरी लेवल पे ही हमको उसको ऑथेंटिकेट करना है। इन दिस कंटेंट वी रिक्वायर्ड रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड। So the botanical, when we talk about the botanical reference standard, that botanical reference standard repository assisted in confirming the identity of the plant drugs used by the industry or referred to the regulatory authorities. Means जब हम एक अपना आइडेंटिफिकेशन या रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड बनने के बाद वो इतना ऑथेंटिकेट होना चाहिए कि उस पे कोई मतलब ब्लेम ना हो सके। और विद द हेल्प ऑफ रेफरेंस वी कैन डेवलप द वर्किंग रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड आल्सो, कि बार-बार हमको उसको टच करने से अच्छा है कि थोड़ा-सा हम अपना वर्किंग स्टैंडर्ड भी रखें। अगर फ्रीक्वेंटली कोई सैंपल होता ही है, कुछ जगह पे 4 और 5 सैंपल्स ही आते हैं अ, मतलब मोस्टली चेक करने के लिए, आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए, तो इन दैट कंडीशन वी हैव टू टेक अ सेपरेट वर्किंग स्टैंडर्ड आल्सो विद अस, डोंट टच द रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड फ्रीक्वेंटली। These are the sub development or maintenance of botanical reference standard repository that already we discussed, that procurement of source material. It may be the cultivation हो सकता है और from the wild sources हो सकता है. We have to take the protocol as it may be API, UPI, SPI और in-house protocols. मतलब जो हम उसको टेस्टिंग करते हैं उसका जो बनाने के लिए, फिर देन सैंपल एनालिसिस बाय द लेबोरेटरी, देन इवोल्यूशन ऑफ रिजल्ट, जो रिजल्ट हमारा तैयार हो गया हमारा उसका रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड का, और देन अप्रूवल ऑफ सर्टिफिकेशन बाय कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी, बिकॉज ये स्टेप बाय स्टेप होता है कि एनालिस्ट एनालाइज करता है, उसके बाद रिव्यूअर रिव्यू करता है एंड देन कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी जो है उसको फाइनलाइज करता है। तो इन सब स्टेप्स को हमको फॉलो करना है, देन उसको हमको करना है कंटेनराइजेशन, मतलब उसको स्टोर करना है प्रॉपर कंटेनर में, देन प्रॉपर लेवलिंग एंड सीलिंग इज ऑल्सो रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द रेफरेंस मटेरियल, एंड नाउ इट्स रेडी फॉर द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड फॉर द प्रोसेस। दिस इज द सम बेसिक कि हमको उस पे क्या होना चाहिए, मतलब हमारे रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड के फाइल पे या उस पे ये डिटेल्स में भी डिफर, मतलब किसी के हिसाब से अलग-अलग हो सकता है। इट मे बी द लेस और इट मे बी द मोर, but we have to follow some typical procedure or documentation for the labeling. This is the some details we can include in our BRS or botanical reference material, that their botanical name, family, morphology, their organoleptic, microscopic. Actually, these parameters also comes under our pharmacopoeia. So वही बेसिक पैरामीटर्स हैं कि जो हम लोग अपने फार्माकोपिया में फॉलो करते हैं, और ये बहुत मतलब माइनर पैरामीटर हैं जो कि हमको एड ऑन में रखना ही चाहिए। अभी तो अगर अदर कंट्री का करेंगे तो बहुत मतलब आगे, अब तो डीएनए ही आगे हम लोगों का कंपल्सरी कर दिया है। So we, if we have the quality standard, or we have the botanical reference standard, or if we have the authentic raw material, so naturally we have to bond for side or stand out. With the help of NMPB guideline, we also go through the gap for NMP, because they are also working on the good agricultural और मेन बेसिकली वही लोग उस पे काम कर रहे हैं, तो वहीं से हम लोग एक्स्ट्रा नॉलेज या जो भी हमको अपनी ज़रूरत है वहाँ से हम उनके दोस्तों हो सकते हैं। धन्यवाद। आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह से गुड एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिसेस, गुड फील्ड कलेक्शन, हार्वेस्ट कलेक्शन मैनेजमेंट, पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, क्वालिटी असेसमेंट, स्पेसिफिकेशन और बीआरएस के बारे में बहुत सारा डिटेल से बताया। थैंक यू वंस अगेन। Now I would like to request our next speaker. Today's last speaker is Dr. Vijay Gupta. Welcome, sir. Dr. Vijay Gupta, presently working as Principal Scientific Officer at PCIMH from 2018, and completed his BMS from Delhi University and MD from BHU in 2007, and got Ghosh Ratna in 2007 by Kerala University. There has more than 15 years of experience in R&D, new drug formulation development, validation, regulatory affairs, development of pharmacopoeia, and has developed more than 10 Ayurveda formulation and successfully launched 3 products in commercial market. There has devised more than 900 products labeled and licensed for Ayurveda for Dabur Intermediate. Dr. Vijay has worked for more than 10 ASC pharmaceutical publications and has more than 10 publications in this field. Now, I would like to request sir to deliver his lecture on overview of ASC regulatory system and shelf life. ASC drugs.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Dr. Vijay Gupta. And first of all, before initiating the presentation, I would like to give thanks to our director, Dr. Raman Mohan Singh, for giving me this opportunity to present the topic. First of all, hmm, first, So let's start. Overview of ASU regulatory systems and shelf life of ASU drugs. As we know, what is the Act? Act is the intention of the law that describes the applicability, definition, governing provisions, fines, etc. In India, the Act is passed by the Parliament, approved by the President, and then becomes the law. And rule, it is the guidelines how to implement the Act. As far as legal provisions or regulation for ASU and H drug concern, definitions for ASU drugs covers under the section 3A of chapter 4, 4A and section 33B to 33O for first schedule and even schedule for the ASU drugs, schedule T and M1 schedule for the GMP for the Ayurveda Siddha United drugs and M1 for the homeopathic drugs. Drug rules before last year, the drug rules are known as drugs and cosmetic rules 1945, but last year September or October onwards, the rules has been renamed as the drug rule 1945. And another rule is drugs and magic remedy objectionable advertisement act. In short, we are also called as DMR, drug magic remedy act 1954. There are other rules also which are applicable, like Pharmacy Act. It is applicable when the pharmacy is to be built or how the pharmacy has to be work. Pharmacy Act 1948, Factory Act 1948, Biodiversity Act, Wildlife Protection Act, Indian Forest Act, Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Substances Act, Standards of Weight and Measurement, GST, Excise, etc. As we know, there are 4 types of regulations. One is the regulatory and one is the prohibitive. Regulatory means how to go ahead. Prohibitive, what not to be done. And there is some legal provision also, penal provision. Penal provision means if you violate the rule, there are some penal provisions are also there. And empowering the authorities means central government or state government to make the specific law. As far as the drug and cosmetic act concerned, central government makes the rules, acts, etc. And it is the onus on the state government, state licensing authority or state government to enforcement of the laws into their respective states. Definition covers under 3A for the ASU drugs and under Rule 2DD for homeopathic drugs. Section 3H defines the definition of patent and proprietary medicine for the ASU drugs, and Chapter 4A whole cover the various provisions for the ASU drugs. There are certain provisions which are enforceable for the ASU drugs. Like in 33C ASU DTAP, definition of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Drug Technical Advisory Board. This is a technical board which advises central government for the various rules, regulations, advisory committee type of provisions are there. ASU DCC, Ayurveda Siddha Unani, Drug Consultative Committee. This is a committee comprises by the central government and the state government as well. And they advise the ASU DTAP. Definition of misbranded drugs, definition of adulterated drugs, spurious drugs, standards of ASU drug, homeopathic drugs, prohibition of manufacturing and sale of ASU drug by state government, prohibition provisions are also there, appointment of government analyst, as you know, Dr. Madam Devki Madam is also government analyst for the ASU and S drugs presently for the central government. So जो भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का गवर्नमेंट एनालिस्ट होगा उसकी ड्यूटीज डिफाइंस हैं, उसके वर्क डिफाइन है, और बीइंग एफिलिएट लैबोरेटरी PCM and H के भी वर्क डिफाइन है इन द ड्रग एंड कॉस्मेटिक एक्ट. Definition of qualification for the inspectors, penalties, quantification of the stock of ASU drugs, disclosure of ASU drug information to the inspector. It is the duty of the manufacturers or sometimes to the seller also to give total information to the drug inspector whenever asked. Maintenance of records or furnishing information by the license holders, cognizance of the offenses, rules. It is empowering the central government to make the rules or amendment in the rules. Powers of central government to amend the first schedule. First schedule, as far I think all of us know. These are the certain schedules which are applicable for the ASU and S drugs. First schedule, list of authoritative text for the ASU drugs. Rule 2DD covers the definition of homeopathic drugs. Schedule E1 list of poisonous substances which are used in the ASU drugs. Schedule T, good manufacturing practices for ASU drugs. Schedule TA, form of record of utilization of raw materials. Schedule M1, GMP for homeopathic medicines. Schedule B1, fees for analysis. Fees for analysis means whenever the appellate authorities, means the court send the sample to the PCI-MNH. It is the duty of the state government to give us some indicative fees, which is mentioned in the DNC Act. Before, if the fees is not received to the PCI-MNH, we will not test the drugs, or we will not submit the report. Schedule Y for the clinical studies. And these are the drug rules, major drug rules. 151 to 159 covers the major applicability of the manufacturer for sale, form of license, etc. Rule 153, application of license to the manufacturers. अभी सबको पता होगा कि हम ई औषधि पोर्टल पे लाइसेंस इश्यूज हो रहे हैं. पहले ऑन पेपर होता था, फिजिकल एप्लीकेशन फाइल करनी होती थी, बट नाउ ऑन ई औषधि पोर्टल. Rule 151B, 155B, award of GMP in the form of Form 26E1. Rule 157, applicability of the GMP. Rule 157A, record of raw materials. Rule 158, guidelines of ASU licenses. 160, authentication of raw material. 160A to J, testing of the raw material, drug testing laboratories and their conditions. Rule 161, labeling, packaging, and limits of alcohol for the ASU drugs. Exemption of the Rule 161A, exemption of labeling and packaging provisions for exports. Rule 161B, shelf life or date of expiry of ASU drugs. For homeopathic drugs, there is a one-liner definition that beyond 5 years, drugs is not to be used. 162, duties of drug inspector, qualification of SLA. Rule 163, role of PCI-MNH. It is newly inserted into 2021. The rule and duties described for the PCI-MNH. Rule 165, qualifications of government analysts, duties of government analyst, standard to be complied, permitted excipients, etc. So this is the definition of ASU drugs. As per Section 3A of DNC Act, drug include all medicine intended for the internal or external use or in the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, or prevention of disease or disorder in the human being or animals, and manufactured exclusively in accordance with the formula described in the authoritative text of first schedule. First schedule means there is a list of around 100 books, 54 for Ayurveda, 20 something for Siddha and Unani. These are the list of ASU drugs, ASU authoritative text. Beyond this, the drug cannot be considered as a Ayurvedic, Siddha or Unani drugs. If other references are used, drugs is not covered under the definition of ASU drugs. ASU patent and proprietary drugs. For the ASU PNP patent proprietary define all the formulation containing only such ingredients used in the formula described in the authoritative text of ASU TIB system of medicine included in the first schedule, but does not include a medicine which is administered by a parenteral route, and also a formulation in the described in the authoritative text of first schedule. Means any ingredient, any composition which is mentioned in the authoritative text of first schedule, and we mix accordingly our R&D or our formula based, we can, and without giving the name which is mentioned in the authoritative text, we can covered and we can manufacture in the name of patent proprietary Ayurvedic drugs. Definition of homeopathic drugs. It covers under Rule 2 DD. Homeopathic medicine include any drug which is recorded in the homeopathic province or therapeutic efficacy which are established through long clinical experience and recorded in authoritative homeopathic literature of India. And now the CCRH and Ministry of Ayush is working for to enlist the authoritative homeopathic literature in India and abroad, which is prepared according to the techniques of homeopathic pharmacy and cover combination of ingredients of such homeopathic medicine, but does not include which is administered by parenteral route. So बेसिकली जो होम्योपैथिक और आयुर्वेदिक सिद्धा यूनानी मेडिसिन हैं उनका पैरेंटल रूट परमिटेड नहीं है, ना होम्योपैथिक में ना आयुर्वेदा सिद्धा यूनानी ड्रग्स के अंदर. So what is the misbranded ASU drugs? Definition is same for the ASU indexed drugs, but definition is same, but for ASU it is described in the section 33E, or homeopathy के लिए it covers it as in the rules pertains to the allopathic drugs. If it is so colored, coated, powder or polished that damage is concealed, or if it is made to appear better or therapeutic value, then it is really. Means if we made the any drug which is appeared better and seems that it has the high therapeutic value, that it covers under the misbranded drug. If it is not labeled in the prescribed manner, or label or container or anything accompanying the drug bear any statement, design or device that makes any false claim for the drug, or which is false or misleading in any particular. अगर लेबल नहीं होगा प्रॉपर, या उसके अंदर कोई हमें ऐसी इंफॉर्मेशन भी दी जाएगी कि ड्रग जो है बेटर थेरेपेटिक एफिकेसी की है, इट कवर्स अंडर मिसब्रांडेड. Adulterated, if it consists in whole or part or filthy material, means अगर ड्रग को जहाँ जिस फार्मेसीज में बनाया जाएगा, चाहे उसके अंदर एक सेक्शन के अंदर ही फिल्थी मटेरियल या अनहाइजीनिक कंडीशंस हैं, तो इट मे बी फॉल्स अंडर द अडल्ट्रेटेड ड्रग्स. If it is prepared, packed or stored under insanitary condition, where it may have been contaminated with filth or where it may have been rendered injurious to health. जैसे कि फोटो में जो शो करी है, एक पिज़्ज़ा चेन की फोटो है, फेमस पिज़्ज़ा चेन है, और उसके ऊपर देखेंगे तो ब्रूम जो होता है, जो क्लीनिंग का जो ब्रूम है, वो ऊपर हैंग हो रहा है और नीचे पिज़्ज़ा के डो है. इसमें ऐसा देखेंगे तो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स का फॉल्ट नहीं है, इट इज़ ड्यू टू द जो उनकी लिटरेसी है, जो वर्कर्स हैं, या तो वो उनको ट्रेनिंग प्रॉपर नहीं दी गई है, उनको पता नहीं है, या जो वो मिसकंडक्ट भी करते हैं कई बार कि जानबूझ के ऐसी जगह में स्टोर करते हैं कि वो चीज़ें हाईलाइट हों. अगर उनको प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग नहीं दी जाती, या वो किसी सपोज उनको कोई कई बार कंपनी को डिग्रेड करने के लिए भी लोग ऐसा करते हैं कि कंपनी तो ऐसा नहीं मेंटेन करना चाहती. कोई भी कंपनी होगी जो प्रोडक्ट बना रही है, तो वो ये कहती है कि हाइजीन को मेंटेन करना है एज फार एज पॉसिबल, बट इस टाइप की कंडीशंस तो कोई भी परमिट नहीं करता. बट ये ऐसा अगर आप देखेंगे प्रैक्टिकली ऐसा मिल जाता है कि पता चलेगा अभी प्रॉपर ड्रेनेज नहीं हुआ, पुराना मटेरियल नया मटेरियल आ गया, वॉशिंग नहीं किया यूटेंसिल को, अभी क्वाथ बनाया, अभी डिकॉक्शन बनाया, उसी में दूसरा क्वाथ जो है ले लिया, इक्विपमेंट की क्लीनिंग नहीं हुई. तो ऐसी कंडीशन जहाँ पे होगी वो सब अडल्ट्रेटेड सेक्शंस के अंदर फॉल करेगी. Spurious drugs, if it is sold or offered or exhibited for sale under a name which belongs to another drug. जैसे safflower is mixed in the name of केसर, Crocus sativus. या काली मिर्च के अंदर हम देखते हैं कि पपीते के सीड्स भी आ जाते हैं, पपाया सीड्स. इफ इट इज इमिटेशन और सब्स्टिट्यूट, हाँ अगर इसके अंदर सपोज फॉर्मूल स्पूरियस ड्रग वो नहीं आएगा अगर वो ऑफिशियली सब्स्टिट्यूटेड है. इफ इट इज सब्स्टिट्यूटेड ऑफिशियली इन द आयुर्वेदिक फार्माकोपिया, सिद्ध फार्माकोपिया, यूनानी फार्माकोपिया, अगर आप उसको प्रॉपर लेवल पे लेवल पे मेंशन करेंगे, लाइसेंस में मेंशन करेंगे, इफ इट डज नॉट फॉल्स अंडर द स्पूरियस ड्रग्स. क्योंकि अगर वो ऑफिशियल सब्स्टिट्यूटेड है, जैसे ऑफिशियल सब्स्टिट्यूट केसर के लिए सेफ्लावर ऑफिशियली सब्स्टिट्यूटेड नहीं है, ना पपीते ना काली मिर्च के लिए पपीता सीड्स. बट जैसे कि कई जगह हमने ऑफिशियली सब्स्टिट्यूट किया दशमूल के लिए, जैसे रूट की जगह अगर आप स्टेम बाक ले रहे हैं बट ऑफिशियली सब्स्टिट्यूटेड है, जैसे IFI फॉर्मुलेशन वाले पार्ट में देखेंगे तो वहाँ पे उसकी जगह जो फॉर्मुलेशन लिया उन्होंने, उसकी जगह रूट की जगह स्टेम बाक लिया है, तो वो स्पूरियस में फॉल नहीं करेगा unless and otherwise you have to mention on the license label and disclose it properly to the SLAs जब वो विजिट करेंगे कि हम इसकी जगह पे ये यूज़ करते हैं, तो वो स्पूरियस में फॉल नहीं करेगा. अदरवाइज अगर आप रूट की जगह स्टेम डालेंगे, स्टेम की जगह रूट डालेंगे, रूट की जगह स्टेम डालेंगे और मेंशन वही करेंगे जो एक्चुअल क्लासिक्स में लिखा है, तो इट फॉल्स अंडर स्पूरियस ड्रग्स. This is the category of license for the ASU drugs. ASU ड्रग्स के अंदर रूल 158B जो है वो स्पेसिफिक है। लाइसेंस को कैटेगराइज कैसे करेंगे? अगर उसके इंडिकेशंस एज जो उसमें इंग्रेडिएंट्स होंगे अगर एज पर टेक्स्ट है, इंडिकेशन एज पर टेक्स्ट है, तो उसमें सेफ्टी स्टडीज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, पब्लिश लिटरेचर की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी, और प्रूफ ऑफ इफेक्टिवनेस नॉट रिक्वायर्ड बिकॉज इट इज ऑलरेडी मेंशन्ड इन द क्लासिकल बुक्स। एनी चेंज इन द डोसेज फॉर्म्स, अगर ओनली डोसेज फॉर्म इज चेंज देन अगर इंग्रेडिएंट एज पर टेक्स्ट है तो नॉट रिक्वायर्ड है, हमें कोई भी नहीं चाहिए, स्टडीज नहीं चाहिए, केवल उसमें पब्लिश लिटरेचर का डेटा चाहिए। ASU ड्रग्स रेफर्ड अंडर 3A टू बी यूज्ड फॉर न्यू इंडिकेशन, अगर न्यू इंडिकेशन के लिए किसी ड्रग को यूज करेंगे तो इंग्रेडिएंट्स तो एज पर बुक होगा, इंडिकेशन न्यू है, सेफ्टी स्टडी इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड क्योंकि सेफ्टी इज ऑलरेडी एस्टेब्लिश इन द क्लासिकल बुक्स। पब्लिश लिटरेचर इफ रिक्वायर्ड, अगर आपके पास कोई पब्लिश लिटरेचर अवेलेबल है कि ये ड्रग आरोग्यवर्धनी किसी नई इंडिकेशन में भी यूज कर सकते थे, if available you have to provide to the SLAs, otherwise proof of effectiveness is essential to be provided. Licensing for the PNP drugs, patent proprietary के अंदर ingredients if as per the text होगा, indication as per textual rationale होगा, safety study not required because the safety of the ingredients is already established, published literature of ingredients is required, pilot study is required to support the data of your claims. If the ASU drugs consist any ingredient which is included the ingredient from the Schedule E1 drugs. Schedule E1 is a list of poisonous drugs. Then safety study, published literature, and proof of effectiveness is required. License of extracts. If it is the aqueous extract, published literature is required, proof of effectiveness not required. Agar aqueous extract a new indication, proof of effectiveness is required. Hydroalcoholic, as per text उसके indications हैं, तो proof of effectiveness and published literature not required. Hydroalcoholic, अगर new indication है, तो proof of effectiveness is required. And other than hydroalcoholic extracts, means you have to any extract which is derived from the methanolic extract. यहाँ पे अल्कोहल का मतलब है केवल इथाइल अल्कोहल, इथेनॉल। For ASU drugs, जहाँ पे भी whenever we are mentioned as the alcohol, alcohol means ethyl alcohol, अगर वो किसी और अल्कोहल से है, क्लोरोफॉर्म से है, बेंजीन से एक्सट्रैक्ट करके कोई नया आपने एक्सट्रैक्ट निकाला है, उसके लिए आपको एक्यूट क्रोनिक मोटेजेनेसिटी टेरेटोजेनेसिटी रिक्वायर्ड, ये इसेंशियल है इसके लिए, और प्रूफ ऑफ इफेक्टिवनेस तो सबमिट करना ही है। ये इसमें स्पेशल है कि अगर अदर देन हाइड्रोअल्कोहलिक कोई एक्सट्रैक्ट हम यूज़ करेंगे ASU मेडिसिन के लिए, तो उसमें एक्यूट क्रोनिक म्यूटाजेनेसिटी एंड टेरेटोजेनेसिटी का डेटा सबमिट करना होगा। एप्लीकेशन एंड वैलिडिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट लाइसेंस। पहले तो लाइसेंस हमको पता है कि पहले 5 ईयर्स के लिए इशू होते थे, बट अभी परपेचुअल हो गए हैं और ई औषधि पोर्टल से मिलते हैं सभी को लाइसेंस जो भी है। वी हैव टू अप्लाई ऑन द ई औषधि पोर्टल फॉर ASU ड्रग्स एंड उनकी जो वैलिडिटी है वो परपेचुअल है, मीन्स आप उसकी रिन्यूअल फीस उसको सबमिट करते रहेंगे, लाइसेंस आपका कंटिन्यू रहेगा। GMP. GMP is a set of guidelines, principle and procedure which when followed by the manufacturers for manufacturing of therapeutic goods, drugs, help to ensure that the product manufacturer will have the required quality. Rule 151. GMP license if drug is manufactured in more than one set of premises. Separate licenses has to be obtained for the each premises. Application for certification of GMP. Application to be made in the form 24E1 through e-Aushadhi portal. Fees is 5,000 and grant of license award in the 26E1 for a period of 5 years. GMP की लाइसेंस की जो वैलिडिटी है वो 5 ईयर है, प्रोडक्ट की जो वैलिडिटी है वो परपेचुअल है, बट अगर GMP लाइसेंस उसका इनवैलिड हो गया तो प्रोडक्ट लाइसेंस इज ऑलरेडी इनवैलिड। रूल 161 लेबलिंग एंड लिमिट ऑफ अल्कोहल ऑफ ASU मेडिसिन। लेबलिंग के लिए गाइडलाइंस आई थी 2010 के अराउंड ये चेंजेस हुए थे। The word Ayurvedic medicine, Siddha medicine or Unani medicine as the case may be mentioned on the product. Ayurvedic medicine, Siddha medicine, Unani medicine, it is essential to be mentioned. True list of the ingredients with the botanical name, part used, form used, and the quantity of each ingredient. केवल आप पहले क्या होता था बिफोर 2000 आई थिंक 9 और 10 केवल ड्रग्स का केवल आपने रेफरेंस लिख दिया वैश्य रत्नावली तो वो सफिशिएंट था बट ये रूल चेंजेस हुए आपको पूरा जो भी उसमें हर्बल इंग्रेडिएंट्स यूज्ड हुए हैं मेडिसिन के अंदर उसका उसका भी नेम देना है बोटेनिकल नेम देना है पार्ट यूज देना है फॉर्म यूज देना है क्वांटिटी देनी है ये इसेंशियल है देना रेफरेंसेस देना शेल्फ लाइफ ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट हैज टू बी मेंशन preservation and coloring agent name of the preservative and the coloring agent if artificial sweeteners is used in the ASU medicine it has to be mentioned the quantity name and the quantity of the artificial sweeteners caution if the drug is containing any drug which is mentioned under schedule E1 we have to mention that the drugs to be taken under the medical supervision in the Hindi and English and if the drug is for external use has to be mentioned if the drug is intended for the physician sample then we have to mention the physician sample not to be sold declaration of percentage of self generated alcohol in the case of asava arista there are 3 asava kapoor asava ifen और mrigvada asava जिनका पैकिंग साइज लिमिट है नॉट मोर देन 15 ml and limit of alcohol for Mrit Sanjeevani Sura it is 16% upper limit and maximum packing size is 30 ml and for Mahadraksha Sab maximum limit of self generated alcohol 16% and packing size is 120 ml. What are the official standards to be followed for the ASU medicine if the drug is included in the API likha ho. Actually it is a fault in the DNC Act DNC rules drug included in the Ayurvedic Pharmacopoeia of India but it has to be mentioned in the drugs included in the Ayurvedic Siddha or Unani Pharmacopoeia then we have to follow the identity purity and strength as per the as given in the addition of API SPI or UPI because सिद्धा के अंदर अभी आयुर्वेदा स्टैंडर्ड्स नहीं लगेंगे और आयुर्वेदा के अंदर यूनानी के या सिद्धा के स्टैंडर्ड्स नहीं लगेंगे बट ये थोड़ा सा रूल के अंदर अभी एक प्रॉब्लम है थोड़ा सा उसमें गलत लिखा हुआ है Asava and Arista upper limit of self generated alcohol is 12% बट अभी लास्ट रूल में मैंने बताया था कि 3 या 4 आसवों के लिए एग्जाम्पशन है लिमिट 16% तक लिमिट दी अदरवाइज 12% मैक्सिमम लिमिट है standards of homeopathic medicine if the drug included in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia of India if drug is included in the HPI standards of identity purity and strength should be followed as per the HPI if drug is not included in HPI but included in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia of United States of America or United Kingdom or German homeopathic pharmacopoeia then the addition of such pharmacopoeia for the time being in used has to be followed जिस फार्माकोपिया से आपने रेफरेंस कोट किया है उसी फार्माकोपिया के स्टैंडर्ड उस पर एप्लीकेबल होंगे फॉर होम्योपैथिक ड्रग्स क्योंकि होम्योपैथिक में नॉट ओनली HPI बट जर्मन फार्माकोपिया UK फार्माकोपिया और USA तीनों भी परमिट हैं आयुर्वेदा सिद्ध यूनानी में केवल इंडियन जो हमारी आयुर्वेदिक फार्माकोपिया ऑफ इंडिया है वही ऑथेंटिक रेफरेंस बुक है also drug is not included in homeopathic pharmacopoeia of India or United States or German or UK the formula or list of ingredients displayed in the prescribed manner जो भी उसकी गाइडलाइंस है होम्योपैथी की अगर वहाँ पे लेबल को मेंटेन करना है और सच स्टैंडर्ड में भी प्रिस्क्राइब्ड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में प्रिस्क्राइब द स्टैंडर्ड्स अगर कोई बाहर से कोई इंपोर्टेड ड्रग्स आती है बट किसी भी फार्माकोपिया में इंक्लूड नहीं है तो उसके लिए गाइडलाइन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट उसको बना सकती है as we know कि for Ayurvedic Siddha Unani medicines we have the liberty to use a preservative coloring agent antioxidant to be added in the formulation for the classical as well as the PNP products these are the some list of permitted preservative permitted excipients etc the recent amendment in the Drug and Cosmetic Act with respect to shelf life till 2009 rule 161 of DNC Act is not mandatory to declare the shelf life of the product before 2009 in ASU medicine, there is no provision to mention the shelf life of the product. Chemist used to sold कि ड्रग जितनी पुरानी होगी उतना ही अच्छा होगा, उसका इफेक्ट उतना ही बेटर होगा. बट 2009 में इन्फोर्स हुआ रूल कि हमें जो शेल्फ लाइफ देनी है वो मेंशन करनी है. क्लासिकल ड्रग्स के लिए उन्होंने लिस्ट कर दिया फॉर्मुलेशन वाइज, डोसेज फॉर्म वाइज. बट 2017 में इसको दोबारा अमेंड किया 2016 में इन रूल 161. ये दोबारा अमेंड हुआ इन 2016 में विद ए window period of 3 years. There are 4 types of stability. One is the chemical, physical, microbiological and therapeutic. जो भी नया अमेंडमेंट रूल हुआ इन 2016 उसकी जो उसमें जो दिया गया उसी के बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे. डेट ऑफ एक्सपायरी ऑफ ASU मेडिसिन shall be conspicuously displayed on the label of container or package of ASU medicine as the case may be. After the set date of expiry, no medicine shall be marketed, sold, distributed or consumable, provided that this rule shall apply to ASU medicine seeking license or renewal of license for manufacturing after date of notification. Means that जो notification जो applicable हुआ after the notification of the rules, जो पहले से ड्रग चल रही थी उस पर कोई रूल में चेंजेस नहीं आए. Provided that this rule shall not be applicable to the ASU medicine manufactured marketed prior to the date of this notification. Every person applying for license or renewal of license for the manufacturing of ASU medicine defined under Section 3H. 3H means patent proprietary medicines of Section 3A of the Act shall submit to the SLA, State Licensing Authority, scientific data-based shelf life or date of expiry of the medicine based on the real-time stability. Means जो सेक्शन 3A में कवर्ड है मेडिसिन उनके लिए ऑलरेडी एक डोसेज फॉर्म वाइज लिस्टेड नीचे आगे प्रोविजन में दिया गया कि चूर्णा का इतना होगा, बट्टी का इतना होगा, टैबलेट्स का इतना होगा, गुगलू का, आसवा, रिस्टा का एक उन्होंने डोसेज फॉर्म वाइज शेल्फ लाइफ डिसाइड कर दी. बट फॉर ईच एंड एवरी ड्रग फॉल्स अंडर द सेक्शन 3H. 3H के अंदर मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को कंपलसरी किया गया कि यू हैव टू डिवाइस द शेल्फ लाइफ ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी प्रोडक्ट बेस्ड ऑन द रियल टाइम स्टेबिलिटी डेटा. बट रियल टाइम स्टेबिलिटी डेटा पे जब प्रॉब्लम आने लगी तो उसके ऊपर PCI में डिस्कशन में आया हमारे यहाँ डिफरेंट कमेटीज में, तो एक्सीलेटेड डेटा को भी परमिट माना गया, एक्सीलेटेड को भी. उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने एक नोटिफिकेशन जारी किया था. एंड व्हाट आर द गाइडलाइंस फॉर एस्टेब्लिशमेंट ऑफ द शेल्फ लाइफ डेटा is as to be based on the API Part 1 Volume H. SLA shall before granting the license or renewal of license for any ASU medicine shall ensure the validity of the data submitted by the manufacturers. It is the onus on the SLA to ensure the validity of the data. SLA may at any time direct or manufacturer to provide the sample of the medicine. अगर SLA को कोई प्रॉब्लम लग रहा है कि इसका डेटा फॉल्स है, मिसलीडिंग है, he can ask the data and send the sample to the PLIM. जो 2017 में ये रूल जो एप्लीकेबल बना था, जब रूल मॉडिफाई हुआ था उस समय PLIM एग्जिस्ट करता था. बट अभी 2020 में PLIM HPL और जो पुराना एक ऑटोनोमस PCIM था उसको रीएस्टेब्लिश करके PCIM एंड एज ए सबऑर्डिनेट ऑफिस मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष बनाया गया. तो ये ड्यूटी जो है अब हमारे पास ट्रांसफर हो गई. पहले PLIM के पास थी और अब तीनों इंस्टीट्यूट एक हो गए हैं तो PCIM के पास आ गई. Where the manufacturer fails to comply the direction of SLA, the license for the manufacturing of medicine shall be liable to suspension after giving a reasonable opportunity. Any person aggrieved by the order passed by the SLA under sub rule 6 may within the 60 days of such order appeal to the central government, and central government after such inquiry into the matters considered necessary pass the order relating to the relation to as deemed fit. Central government means Ministry of Ayush. The shelf life or date of expiry of ASU medicine defined under Section 3A. जैसे मैं कह रहा था सेक्शन 3A में जो ड्रग्स फॉल करती हैं यानी क्लासिकल मेडिसिन जिसको जनरली बोला जाता है, उसके लिए शेल्फ लाइफ कैसे होगी वो आगे इंडिकेटिव है. और जो ड्रग्स सेक्शन 3H में फॉल करती हैं पेटेंट प्रोप्राइटरी, उसके लिए मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को शेल्फ लाइफ खुद डिवाइस करनी है, खुद बनानी है, खुद स्टडी करनी है. एक स्लाइड मिस हो गई है, आई थिंक एक स्लाइड मिस हो गई है इसमें. ये आयुर्वेदिक डोसेज फॉर्म्स के लिए कर्ण बिंदु, कुपी पकुरसायन, मलहर, etc. These are the Siddha formulations, dosage forms. These are Unani dosage forms. जैसे मैं आपको बता रहा था कि शेल्फ लाइफ में नोटिफिकेशन में रियल टाइम लिखा था, बट एक्सीलेटेड को भी डेटा जो था उसको मानने के लिए नोटिफिकेशन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष का एक ये निकला हुआ है 26 जुलाई 2019 में। गाइडलाइंस क्या होंगी? जैसे पहले भी डिस्कस जो लेवल जो रूल में भी आया था, ईपीआई पार्ट 1 वॉल्यूम 8, it is though it is mentioned in the API, but it is equally applicable for the Siddha Unani drugs, for classical as well as for the 3H drugs. जो रूल के अंदर जो गाइडलाइंस आई है वो इट कवर्स ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स लाइक general information, what is the scope, approach toward the selection of batch, closure system, packaging, specification to be considered, criteria for identity, purity and strength, testing frequency, storage condition, etc. Purpose of the stability. Purpose of the stability is it is the evidence on how the quality of drug or substance product varies with the time under the influence of temperature, humidity and light. Because most of the drugs are organic in nature and organic compounds are deteriorate in course of time, temperature and humidity. उसमें जो डिटोरिएशन होता है उसको कंसीडर करने के लिए हम स्टेबिलिटी जनरली करते हैं to generate and analyze the stability data to support the retest period of the drug substance, expiration dating period for a drug product, to ensure the strength, quality, purity of the drug with respect to time. What are the factors? Factors affecting the shelf life, nature of the product or dosage forms. Dosage forms like Asavarista has the long shelf life, Basmas, Parpati, जो specialized dosage forms for ASU medicine, they have the longer shelf life. But like Avle, Chorna, they have shorter shelf life due to microbial contamination. Ingredients of the product, stability of the active ingredients. Active ingredients means if it consists the mercury preparation, Basmas, they have the better shelf life as compared to the plant origin drugs. Packaging material, container, liner system, closure system, storage conditions, excipient in the dosage forms. Excipient means if we are adding the excipients like preservative, coloring agent or binders, though they have the better shelf life as compared to the classical products. Microbial contamination, potential interaction between the active and inactive compounds, manufacturing process, storage during processing, post-marketing storage, etc., handling, selection. For formal stability study should be considered on at least 3 primary batches. 3 primary batches means जब प्रोडक्ट में R&D करते हैं. Anyone has the idea? 3 primary batches.
Three batches from single location or 3 batches?
पार्शियली ठीक है. इनिशियली जब किसी भी प्रोडक्ट पे कोई R&D करते हैं, कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते हैं, एटलीस्ट 3 प्राइमरी बैच, मतलब स्टार्टिंग में एटलीस्ट 3 बैच हमें बनाने हैं. ड्रग्स में भी फ्रॉम द if the drug is enlisted in the API, UPI, SPI, so there is no need to go for the geographical variation. If it could not mentioned in the API, UPI, SPI or HPI, we have to prepare the 3 batches. And 3 batches की stability को simultaneously लगाया जाता है to analyze the variation during the time. 3 primary batches. जब it is actually R&D batches. It is not the actual manufacturing process. It is not the actual manufacturing batch. It is the R&D batch. जब R&D करते हैं प्रोडक्ट की, उसी समय उसकी स्टेबिलिटी लगेगी. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जो बैच होता है उसकी ये स्टेबिलिटी आप कर सकते हैं, बट जब इनिशियल प्रोडक्ट को लॉन्च करना है, मार्केट में जाना है, उससे पहले जो R&D करेंगे वो जो 3 बैच बनेंगे उसको प्राइमरी बैच बोला जाएगा. प्राइमरी
Gupta,
बैच शुड बी ऑफ द
Dr.
सेम.
Gupta, sorry to
हाँ.
interrupt you in between. So is this for ASU or is this for phytopharmaceutical drugs?
फॉर एएसयू सर. फाइटोफार्मास्यूटिकल के लिए तो एक्चुअली जो मॉडर्न की गाइडलाइंस है वो सब लगेंगे मॉडर्न की. और
Okay.
फॉर एएसयू के लिए ये है.
Actually, one thing that you mentioned that for ASU, it has a fixed formula given under the schedule. And do we have to follow schedule by in that case also?
सर स्टडीज के लिए जनरली फॉलो कर रहे हैं, एप्लीकेबल नहीं.
Okay.
बट
Because
उसकी जो गाइडलाइंस हैं कि भाई पोस्ट मार्केटिंग सर्विलेंस होना है, उसके अंदर जो एक होता है ना काइनेटिक्स और डायनेमिक स्टडीज का जो एक फेज है सेकंड और
because
थर्ड वाला.
schedule by we have to do all those
नहीं
studies
टोटली
also.
नहीं करते सर. उसमें एक्चुअली शेड्यूल वाई के ऊपर ही हमारी भी स्टडीज बेस्ड रहती हैं कि उसको हम करते हैं. मार्केटिंग पोस्ट मार्केटिंग सर्विलेंस हो गया, फार्माकोकाइनेटिक डायनेमिक डोज डिसाइड, तो वो जब उसका पार्ट तो है गाइडलाइंस तो वहीं से फॉलो करते हैं. बट जो सीसीआरसी गाइडलाइन एक तो वो भी फॉलो करते हैं जो क्लिनिकल स्टडीज़ के लिए है, या जो अगर स्मॉल बैच पे करना है तो जो सीआरओ जो उसके लिए वो बनाएंगे गाइडलाइन.
I think that for ASU we have to do that. For
As such,
ASU drugs.
फॉर एएसयू ड्रग्स शेड्यूल वाइज नॉट फॉलो
not for-
एग्जैक्टली.
Okay.
But
Just-
फेजेस वही हैं.
okay.
Phases वही हैं. हाँ.
Just have a query. If for the standardization of a new product, if the individual ingredients are already mentioned in the API, then also whether we have to go for the collection of the raw drugs from 3 different geographical locations and also the field sample is compulsory. Is it like that or any?
It depends how your company permit or how your institute permits. If the standards is published in the API for the raw materials, even though you have to prepare at least 3 batches,
Formulation, okay. So from
maybe
3,
if you are ensured that you have the sustainable supply from one location, if you are have not confidence that maybe in this season we are getting material from north zone, in another season from south zone or east zone, then you have to make some combination permutation according to your availability of the raw material. And whatever the raw material, you have to prepare at least 3 batches to have the variation. And most of the companies will do, they make only one batch and divide it into the name of 3 batch, A, B, C. But it will not reflect the actual variation.
and so the pesticide residue analysis and all those parameters, whether we have to do for the raw drug, these 3 batches of raw drugs or only for the finished products we have to?
During stability,
No, sir, pesticide residue analysis we are doing now. So for all the 3 batches of raw drugs, is it compulsory?
yes. Because एक तो इनिशियली आप पहले रॉ मटेरियल में टेस्ट एनालिसिस करेंगे, then in the formulation, then if you have the confidence your product is within the limit, there is no need to conduct the pesticide residue in stability, during stability, because no one is going to add the pesticide into the
Pesticide.
packed formulation. In
Sir,
the
here-
same case for the heavy metal, okay, but
Okay.
microbial limits, aflatoxin, you have to verify.
Okay. Thank you.
Here one question, sir. Sir, stability studies for any finished formulation, we want to study like we are saying 4 types, like chemical and biological and microbiological. It is mandatory to all or any one of these fine. So how we can decide it for stability? Because sometimes microbiologically something only for it will come 7 months or 8 months. If you go for physiochemical wise, it will go for the little bit higher, like more than 20 months. If you marker basis, it will went for 2 years. So which one we can consider it? Either what is the average? So can you guide?
अब इसको डिस्कस करते हैं. और सेकंड इसमें मैं एडिशन करना चाहूँगा कि इन एएसयू मेडिसिन थेरेपेटिक एफिकेसी की जो स्टेबिलिटी या उसका जो डेटा है वो हम असेस नहीं कर पाते. एज यू नो, उसकी जो थेरेपेटिक एफिकेसी है उसको तो असेसमेंट नहीं हो पाता ड्यूरिंग स्टेबिलिटी. बट एटलीस्ट जो फिजिको केमिकल पैरामीटर है, माइक्रोबियल लिमिट्स हैं और जो उसकी फिजिकल अपीयरेंस है वो तो हमें कंसिडर करनी ही है. एटलीस्ट उसकी थेरेपेटिक एफिकेसी कितनी इन्हेंस हुई या डिटोरिएट हुई उसका असेसमेंट तो हम नहीं कर पाते फॉर एएसयू मेडिसिन. बट एटलीस्ट उसकी फिजिकल अपीयरेंस, केमिकल इंटीग्रिटी, उसके फिजिको केमिकल पैरामीटर्स, माइक्रोबियल लिमिट्स, इसको तो जरूर कंसिडर हमें करना है. So primary batch should be of the same formulation composition, incorporating as per the proposed for marketing. Means sometimes for the class for initial batches we prepare the drug using best of the quality drugs, and each of the ingredients is best collected for the manufacturing. But during commercial batch, manufacturers used to use the deteriorate quality or uh, substandard quality. Then standards are not meet with primary batch and the commercial batch.
Sir, I have one more doubt.
सर इसको बात कर लें प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद एक बार में डाउट क्लियर हो जाएंगे फिर
ठीक है, sir.
हम्म?
Sampling procedure, sir. So for testing, how
अभी इसके लेटर ऑन For new product, the batch should be manufactured to a minimum of pilot scale by the same route. Same route means and using a method of manufacturing procedure that simulate the final process to use for the production batch. Pilot scale का जो batch होगा should be minimum 1/10 of the commercial batch and prepared by using same route. Means each and every machinery equipments which are you going to use during the commercial batch, you have to prepare on the same equipments and through same route. कि किस चैनल से वो रॉ मटेरियल आएगा, उसकी क्या एनालिसिस होगी, क्या उसका मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होगी, कैसे पैकेजिंग होगी, वो सेम रूट हमें फॉलो करना चाहिए टू गेट द प्रॉपर आइडिया ऑफ द मेडिसिन. एंड what is the batch size? Batch size should be minimum of 1/10 of the commercial batch. Suppose commercial batch you have decided for 3000 liter, then the pilot scale batch should be 300 liter. And 300 liter into three different batches. Overall quality of the batch of the drug placed in formula stability study should be representative of the quality of the material. Whenever possible, batch of the drug should be manufactured by using different batch of drug substance. अभी जो आपने क्वेश्चन किया था, अगर though it is manufactured in though it is mentioned in the API or UPI, but at least 3 raw materials from different location, not geographical, 3 different materials. Stability to be performed on each and every individual strength. Individual strength means anyone? Individual strength. Sometimes we have not Mahayogra Jugulu 250 mg and one prepared Mahayogra Jugulu 500 mg. Same company also manufacturing Vasant Kusmagar Ras 125 mg. Second one is prepared Vasant Kusmagar Ras 65 mg. तो जो भी कंपनी अगर एक ही ड्रग की 2 स्ट्रेंथ बनाती है तो उसकी दोनों स्ट्रेंथ में जो उसकी स्टेबिलिटी है दोनों स्ट्रेंथ में करनी है. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने 100 mg वाली स्ट्रेंथ को स्टेबिलिटी में लगाया और उसी को नेक्स्ट टाइम जब 50 mg में लॉन्च कर रहे हैं तो आप डेटा सबमिट कर दे कि हमने 100 पे करिए तो हमारा 50 mg वाला भी स्टेबल होगा. नहीं, ईच एंड एवरी स्ट्रेंथ अगर प्रॉपर जाएंगे तो वो तो ये भी कहता है कि ईच एंड एवरी पैक साइज 50 टैबलेट्स 40 टैबलेट 60 टैबलेट, बट वो पॉसिबल नहीं है. तो उसके लिए ब्रैकेटिंग मैट्रिक्सिंग हम कर सकते हैं, बट इंडिविजुअल स्ट्रेंथ का कंपलसरी है करना. एंड स्टेबिलिटी शुड बी डन इन द पैकेजिंग सिस्टम विच इज इंटेंडेड टू बी मार्केटिंग. मीन्स sometimes stability done in the HDP container, glass bottles, but when marketing it comes into the pouch or it comes into the PET bottle. So it should not be done. Whatever you done, whatever the material used during the stability study, it should be marketed into the same product, same strength. Sometimes जब हम stability start करते हैं, glass bottle इस shape की होती है, इसी स्ट्रेंथ की होगी, बट जब मार्केट में लॉन्च होगा तो इसमें से पता चलेगा आपने पैट बॉटल में लॉन्च कर दिया जिसकी स्ट्रेंथ भी कम है, कलर भी चेंज है. आपने स्टेबिलिटी की एम्बर कलर बॉटल में प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च किया क्लियर पैट में, तो वो डेफिनेटली प्रोडक्ट का जो स्टेबिलिटी होगा वो इफेक्ट होगा. या पैकेज जब हमने जैसे चूर्णा की स्टेबिलिटी करी HDP कंटेनर में विद सीलिंग और जब मार्केट में लॉन्च किया इनटू द पाउच टू सेव द मनी, तो डेफिनेटली पाउच की जो स्टेबिलिटी होगी, जो टाइम ड्यूरेशन होगा वो HDP कंटेनर से लेस होगा. तो जो जिस भी मटेरियल में इंटेंडेड है, मार्केट को पता होता है, मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को पता होता है मेरे को किस प्रोडक्ट में उसको एक्चुअल में लॉन्च करना है, किस पैकेजिंग सिस्टम में, तो वही पैकेजिंग सिस्टम साइमुलेट होना चाहिए। अप्रोच, देर आर 2 अप्रोचेस फॉर सिलेक्शन ऑफ द बैच। फर्स्ट इज द इनिशियल, जैसे R&D करते हैं, इनिशियली R&D करते हैं, बैच बनाया, उसकी R&D कमर्शियल बैच हमने पायलट बैच बनाया था, उसकी R&D करी, उसका जो हमने स्टेबिलिटी में लगाया, इट इज़ द फर्स्ट अप्रोच। एंड जनरली यूज होती है फॉर द एस्टेब्लिशमेंट ऑफ द शेल्फ लाइफ ऑफ द न्यू प्रोडक्ट। अब जब ये रूल आया तो सेकेंडली जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ने कहा कि सर हमारा प्रोडक्ट तो 4 साल से मार्केट में आ रहा है, 10 साल से मार्केट में आ रहा है, हम एक स्टेबिलिटी क्यों करेंगे, और हम स्टेबिलिटी करेंगे तो हमें फिर 5 साल चाहिए, 6 साल चाहिए, 7 साल चाहिए। तो उसमें जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने डिसाइड करके दिया, ओके, एक सेकेंड अप्रोच दी जिसको हमने बोला क्रॉस सेक्शनल अप्रोच। न्यू प्रोडक्ट है तो प्रीवियस वाली अप्रोच, फर्स्ट अप्रोच। अगर सेकंड आपका प्रोडक्ट पहले से ऑलरेडी मार्केट में है और आपको स्टेबिलिटी स्टडीज करनी है, देन गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया परमिट द क्रॉस सेक्शनल अप्रोच। एंड इन दिस अप्रोच स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ 5 years कैन बी डन विद इन 1 week। कैसे? सिलेक्शन ऑफ द बैच samples from the batch manufactured over a period of last 5 years spanning 6 months and evaluate them simultaneously। means जो बैच आपके पिछले 6 महीने में बने थे, the batch manufactured by the company during last 6 months in last 5 years, लास्ट 5 years में 6 months के ड्यूरेशन पे जो बैचेस बने थे वो डेफिनेटली क्यूसी कंट्रोल बैच में आपके पास क्यूसी कंट्रोल सेक्शन में होंगे, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल सेक्शन में होंगे। samples to be taken from this QC lab and analyze them simultaneously। जब उनको simultaneously एनालिसिस करेंगे तो विद इन 1 week, विद इन 2 weeks में आपके पास एक डेटा जनरेट हो जाएगा एंड यू हैव द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट विच इज ऑलरेडी इन द मार्केट। इसमें मेन जो फोकस करना है, एटलीस्ट साल में 2 बैच होना चाहिए प्रोडक्ट का जो 6 months में बना हो। 5 साल का करेंगे तो लास्ट 5 years में कितने बैच हो गए? 5 into 2 10 बैच। 10 बैच के प्रोडक्ट को आप एनालिसिस कीजिए, कंपेरेटिव चार्ट बनेगा, कंपेरेटिव चार्ट से एक मीन आ जाएगा तो आपके पास एक डेटा जनरेट हो जाएगा। कंटेनर पैकेजिंग क्लोजर सिस्टम क्या होना है? प्रोडक्ट शुड बी पैकेज इन द कंटेनर क्लोजर सिस्टम प्रपोज टू बी मार्केटेड। If the container is too large for drug substance, the stability study should be conducted in a container or closure system that is same or as simulate the packaging system। Means sometimes industries prepare the asavarista or oils in a 5-liter containers, packed or marketed into the 5-liter container, and 5-liter container is not possible to have the stability and to place into the stability chamber। तो उसके लिए क्या करना है? उसके लिए क्या करना है? एटलीस्ट जो बैच हमारा जो पैकेजिंग सिस्टम होगा उस स्ट्रेंथ का होना चाहिए, सेम मटेरियल का बना होना चाहिए जो कंडीशंस को साइमुलेट करे। 5 लीटर्स का कंटेनर नहीं आ सकता तो एटलीस्ट 1 लीटर का या 500 ml का कंटेनर होगा, बट उसकी जो स्ट्रेंथ है मटेरियल की जो स्ट्रेंथ है वो वही साइमुलेट करनी चाहिए जो आपके 5 लीटर वाले कंटेनर्स को स्ट्रेंथनिंग होगी उसकी। नहीं क्लियर हुआ?
Sir, we can't understand in Hindi.
If the container is too large, sometimes manufacturer used to sell the product into the 5-liter containers or 6-liter container, 10 kg of churnas. Sometimes to have the stability, it is not possible to place these packaging system into the stability chamber. Then what is the option? We have the option to have the stability into the same container, same strength of the container and material। 5 liters का container, suppose we don't have, we are not able to put into the stability, but for 500 gram 500 capacity container, but it should have the same strength material as the 5-liter container। So we can do the study on that container or packaging system। What is the storage condition? There are 2 types of storage condition. For accelerated temperature is 40 degree plus minus 2 degree and relative humidity 75 plus minus 5 degree. Minimum time is 2 months, 6 months. For long-term or real-time stability studies, 30 degree is the temperature, plus minus 2 degree variation is permitted, 60% relative humidity, and minimum time is 12 months. Testing frequency. For real-time stability studies, proposed shelf life is minimum 12 months. The frequency of testing at long-term storage condition should be normally every 6 months over first year. For first year, every 6 months, and for the second year and annually after that, one retest period. For accelerated 0, 3, 6, 0, 3, and 6 months. 0 is initial 3 months after and 6 months for the accelerated, and for the real time, for initial 1 year, initially 1 year and second year on 6 months, and thereafter one sample in a year. Evaluation and how to evaluate the shelf life. And Ayurvedic ASU medicine can be considered to be stable if no significant change. If no significant change occur during at any period of testing or accelerated storage condition or at real time condition. Significant changes क्या होंगे? What is the significant changes? A plus minus 20% change in the initial value, initial assay value. If the drug is analyzed initially for the some assays, if there is a variation of more than 20% plus or minus, then drug is said to be non-stable. A plus minus 15% variation into the initial assay value, drug is analyzed for the active compound. If drug initially analyzed for the active compounds, if there is a variation for more than 15%, then drug is said to be non-stable. Appearance of the new spot in the TLC or disappearance of the previous spot. Appearance of the new spot or disappearance of the previous spot. Physicochemical parameter, moisture, ash, particle size should not vary beyond 25% of the initial value. Failure to meet the acceptance criteria as per individual monograph. Individual monographs means is if the variation is more varied from the API, SPI, UPI, then drug is said to be non-stable. Or failure to meet the acceptance criteria for physical attributes. अगर suppose drug analysis में if the physical analysis, physiochemical analysis is the same as per your requirement, but appearance, uska color, phase separation, caking, hardness is variation is varied during the time. Formulation said to be non-stable. What is the quality parameter to be considered? Quality parameter should cover the physical, chemical, biological, and microbiological attributes, preservative content. On analytical quality parameter described, what are the analytical parameter? Analytical parameter as per the API, UPI, SPI. Specific analytical parameter, which are not specific but not the classical dosage forms like capsule, gels, ointment, which are not covered in the ASU drug. Specific जो dosage forms are like capsule, gel, ointment, paste. Monographs on this formulation, on these dosage forms is not covered in the API, but we have to assess the general parameter for these formulations also, like leaking, phase separation, bleeding, etc. Sticking to the like soft gel capsule are stick together with the heat in 40-degree temperature, like this. In these conditions, if the soft gel capsule is not packed individually, they stick together. We have to check these type of conditions also. Observation of the packaging system also. Color change of the bottle, de-shaping of the bottle, sticking of the strip with the tablet or capsule. Stability study should include the testing of these attribute of the drug terms that are susceptible to change during storage and likely to influence the quality, safety, and efficacy. What are the standard operative procedures to analyze the stability? Standard procedure should be as per the API, UPI, SPI, or any authentic text if not included in these pharmacopoeias. There are some other qualification certification systems are also there, like GMP certification is must, and WHO GMP COPP for export of ASU and drugs. Voluntary certification from QCI, Ayush Standard, Ayush Premium Mark. Thank you. Question? Any question?
My doubt is regarding sampling, sir. So for anything from the raw drug to the product, finished product, so we have to do certain tests. How we are going to take the samples, sir? So is there any procedure is outlined in API or Siddha Pharmacopoeia or anywhere? Is there how to take the samples and test the procedure? Is there any
For stability,
for stability, anything, sir, for aflatoxin, anything? How to take the sample? Is there any procedure or any guidelines there in AAC?
yeah, question is not clear.
Sir,
For production,
sampling, sir.
sampling
Yes, sir. For testing for
testing, na?
physicochemical parameter
You can
or
say particular
for
test.
aflatoxin, anything.
For stability, there is a general guideline. Uh, First of all, samples sent to be the microbial labs.
Okay.
If the sample is to be taken out from the stability chamber, it has to be initially submit to the microbial labs or place another sample of the same strength quality, two batches, two packets, one sent to the microbial analysis and one sent for the physiochemical analysis, etc. If you have only one sample, then first of all sample sent to the microbial limits or microbial analysis. So the microbiologist will take out the sample with each and every precaution which is as per standard protocol. Then samples is sent to be sent for the physiochemical analysis. ताकि उसमें contamination ना हो. Otherwise, अगर initially उसको we will submit to the physiochemical analysis, then there is a chance for the microbial contamination on these labs.
Sir, good afternoon all. My question is regarding cross-sectional approach, sir. In this cross-sectional approach, how can we ensure that for last 5 years, products or some formulations are there, no, sir? Storage conditions. In stability studies, we are concentrating on storage conditions, no, sir?
In QC control labs for section, samples to be stored in a standard storage condition. This is the first priority. If your sample is to be, actually this gives the real idea of the real time stability.
Yes, sir.
So real time stability within in India, room का temperature 40 डिग्री से ज़्यादा नहीं हो.
Means outside
30
storage
डिग्री
is
से
fine.
ज़्यादा नहीं हो, मतलब 34, 35, 36 से ज़्यादा generally नहीं होगा. और it will give you real time stability studies.
Okay, sir. Another question was that regarding bioactive marker based stability studies, sir, or active compound based stability studies. When we do for any formulation, sir, any churna or any quatha, if you are going through bioactive marker based stability
Bioactive
studies,
markers is not compulsory at present. If your company or R&D institute will do, then there is a limit given, na, 20% or 15%.
20%, sir. When we do through physicochemical analysis, for suppose the stability is 24 months. When we done with bioactive marker estimation, it is just 15 months. Which one is to be considered? When we do through physicochemical parameters, sir, like loss on rank, total acid, these parameters, microbial, these things, and not that much alteration. So for suppose it is coming 24 months or 2 years or 3 years something, stability studies, stability self-life.
Sir, is question
Least
is
one.
least one. Okay.
Least one we
Least
have.
one.
Okay.
Where
The
whenever
microbial.
your sample fails
Okay.
in any one of the parameter,
Sir, here one more
in
doubt,
any
sir.
parameter,
Sir, here one more doubt. If you microbial having 10 months, physiochemical having 15 months, bioactive marker is giving 20 months. So microbial is giving only 10 months. Under that, how much deviation I will take it less than that? Because already I did shelf life in microbiological activity. 10 months also happened. So actually 10 months is coming as per my data. But when I giving submit to shelf life of my product, so either I submit to exact 10 months or 8 months. Because sometimes that is also little bit dilemma, because batch to batch also it will be vary. First batch having
so
10
you
months,
have done the
second batch 11
stability
months.
for 10 months. You have done the stability on 6 months.
Yes.
There is no provision. You can done stability testing. You can done on every month, on 15 days, whatever you like. But this is the minimum guidelines, minimum testing periods. If you get for 10 months, you have to test the drug in 6 months and 12 months. 10 months so during analysis you
Yeah.
can perform.
Mm.
But if you analyze the drug for each and every after quarter, suppose 9 months you get that 6 months sample is passed, in 9 months sample is failed. So you have to assess the 6 months is the stability period.
So here one more, sir, batch to batch also it will
जैसे
be
डाबर
vary.
में मैं बताता हूँ आपको, अभी हम जब रियल टाइम करते थे तो रियल टाइम में भी 0, 3, 6, 9, 12 फिर हम करते थे उसमें कभी कभी हम 15 मंथ भी करते थे, 18 मंथ्स भी करते थे, 24 भी करते थे, क्योंकि जैसे जैसे टाइम बीतता है रियल टाइम का प्रोडक्ट में एक्चुअल जैसे गुगलू है उसकी हार्डनेस शुरू हो जाती है, या कोई सिरप बनाया उसमें फेस सेपरेशन शुरू हो जाता है, कलर सेपरेशन शुरू हो जाता है, तो उसको असेसमेंट करने के लिए उसको बीच में भी करते थे। ऐसा नहीं कि जो स्टैंडर्ड प्रोटोकॉल है वो तो करना ही है, बट अगर आपको लगता है सपोज कि योर प्रोडक्ट इज सेंसिटिव, you analyze it at any interval, and if sample is failed in 18 months and 12 month sample is passed, so your stability is 12 months.
So the company is, there's a difference. I want to know that what the company is GMP certified, the product is GMP certified.
Repeat.
So company is GMP certified, or product is GMP certified. Oh, and the ICE premium marka.
Company is GMP is essential
Hmm.
certification for the company,
Okay.
and COPP is given for the products.
Okay.
COPP, WHO, COPP, Ayush premium mark is given to the product.
So it means with,
GMP for the company,
Hmm.
and COPP, WHO, COPP, or Ayush premium mark is given to the products.
Okay.
Suppose there are so many companies like Himalaya, Dabur, Zandu. They are WHO GMP certified also.
Okay.
GMP certified, WHO GMP certified, but have very lesser formulations which are COPP,
Okay.
WHO COPP, या
Okay.
आयुष प्रीमियम मार्क,
Okay. Clear.
क्योंकि जिनका एक्सपोर्ट कंपनीज विल टेक ओनली COPP or WHO COPP Ayush premium mark only for these products which have the export potential. Or some state also imposing that the government supplied medicine should be manufactured into the WHO GMP pharmacies. Otherwise, there is no need for in India to have the WHO GMP. GMP certification is very much essential.
Okay. Well, that is the primary essential for the company for GMP certified. Then the Ayush premium market was UPP.
Repeat.
Well, it is clear that GMP certified is the primary essential for the companies manufacturing, and then after that the products of COP Ayush premium market.
GMP. First, you have to take the GMP.
Okay.
First essential step is take the GMP, then product license, followed by the WHO GMP and COPP or WHO or Ayush premium mark from QCI, and it is non-voluntary. Non-mandatory, it is
Mandatory.
voluntary in nature.
Non-mandatory. Thank you.
In the name of ASU is possible?
अभी तो सर थोड़ा उसमें डिलेमा है, एक दो ड्रग ऐसा है बेसिकली च्यवनप्राश के नाम से ही एक्सपोर्ट तो होता है
As a botanical drug,
बट एज ए हर्बल सप्लीमेंट,
Yes.
या शंखपुष्पी तेल भी जाता है, मानारायण तेल भी जाता है, हिंदी नेम ऑफ मानारायण तेल, शिलाजीत भी जाता है, हिंदी नेम ऑफ शिलाजीत और मोमी करके जाता है, बट नॉट इन द नेम ऑफ आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन. हाँ, नॉट एज ए मेडिसिन. इंटरनेशनल के अंदर अगर हम यूरोपियन कंट्रीज की बात करें या रशियन कंट्रीज, उसमें एज ए हेल्थ सप्लीमेंट जा रहा है, और शायद बांग्लादेश और नेपाल में तो थोड़ा सा आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन के नाम पे रिकॉग्निशन उनका है.
materials. So
Yes.
you are preserving that material. Do you have any particular method for preserving of that material?
No, sir. We are first it is processing, means mainly it is drying in natural way only. Uh, Especially the leaves we are drying in the shade, and even that bark we are using that oven for at a 30-degree temperature. And these dried materials we are keeping in the bottle, and in each year, and during that year also we have to frequently observe that material, and which is starting deterioration, that time we have to replace it with a new material from the same place.
Shelf life of that material is only
1 year, yes.
It can't be preserved for more than 1 year.
No,
Any
no.
method or something like that?
No, sir. If it is means if we are storing it more than 1 year, some of the especially even volatile oil materials which contains volatile oil, it started uh, exhausting from that material. For example, even for the pepper, if we are storing it more than 6 months, its volatile oil content will be become less.
So I mean to say, is there any studies going on for the shelf life of drugs and how many years you can store on this?
That is from our, not yet any such studies were not published, and just we started our studies, just we are noting that period on which period any of this material are starting deterioration, and just as a part of our NMBB project we are started that work. And even earlier I have done some of such using this pharmacognosy parameter itself. For example, I have already told that pepper itself, even after 6 months, if we are taking that cross section of that pepper fruit, and if we are going for that oil test, Sudan for test, we will not get that oil droplets in that material. From that, this is a supporting document only. And now we are going with the chemical data, chemical analysis data.
Actually, look at one thing in case of we have one project that is NRD.
Yes, 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 national.
In that one, we are preserving all the gamma radiation.
Okay.
So, but we have not
Gamma
done
radiation is mainly for that to avoid insect attack, but we cannot maintain its other properties like especially for maintaining that volatile oil and other things. If it is,
But
we
are
are
not
keeping it in that that much packed condition.
even that one,
To some extent, we can retain that one, but even then, there are
if we will
chances for
open once,
deterioration.
then we
Yes,
will
yes,
get right.
yes.
But I think so in our case of Ayush, we are not doing any this type of study regarding the shelf life of the raw banana.
Yes. Nobody is
Because
still.
we don't know the shelf life.
Yes,
The
sir.
stage where we are getting that one.
Yes,
And
sir.
how much time we can use all these
Mm.
drugs.
Especially, it is clear that
Yeah.
for the starch containing drugs,
Yeah.
especially rhizome and even tuberous roots, it will not go after 6 months because immediately insect attack and it started powdering. Mm. That is. Yes.
I don't know how much it is practically possible. Like you have vast information about the macroscopic characters, organoleptic and microscopic characters. You have all the images. I don't know whether it is practically possible that you make a tool, AI-based tool, so that the person like I am basically pharmacologist. I have little bit knowledge of pharmacognosy. It becomes very difficult for us to identify the product at the time of collection.
Yes.
We have to collect and we have to brought to the lab and then we have to show and ultimately we listen that this is not the same product. The same key issue I faced with diosia. There was Urtica diosia. So if it is possible, like you have a vast knowledge and it being a government institute, if it is possible that you make a image-based AI tool,
Yes.
so that we can just click and upload on your portal, it will be a good highlight for the institute also, and it will be very helpful for us because I see there are wonderful images you have, whether it's microscopic or you have shown some organoleptic and all these information.
Sir, only just we started that type of work and that discussion is going on using that AI tools. But earlier, in my earlier means in my earlier office, we just started to develop a software to means, sorting out original drugs and adulterant drugs. For that, we tried to develop a software. That time, what we faced, even for the cross-sectional views also, if we are giving cross-section and data, everything we are feeding, and that machine will just like sorting out of apples for that export. That method is already there. So based on that means principle only, we started means developing such software. That time, what problem happened? No, if we are giving external characters, also we are telling that it is light green to dark green. But if that range they cannot, this machine cannot detect that one. And maybe due to that, our means overexposure to that sunlight, maybe light color change will also happen. But it should be it will be a exact original drug. But machine will reject it because it is not matching with whatever data we have given. In that range also, we cannot, even for the cross section also, we are telling that parenchyma cells 8 to 10 layers. Maybe original material due to some overgrowth and other thing, rows of that parenchyma cells will be more than 15 numbers. That time also that material will be rejected by the machine. So in such cases, completely we cannot depend upon that machine. That was my first experience. Even we have also to give our input. We have to decide that these characters are almost matching. So we have to, just like DNA fingerprinting, we have to decide that this is original one. Like that, from our side also, we needed some input from our side. Similar way in AI also, just we started discussion with the NIC, and that process is just started. We are also trying for such tools also, AI tools for the identification and sorting out adulterants and genuine samples. That also we have to, from our experience, we have to look out for, we have to find out any way for that one also.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
One more. Actually, now we're taking a project that is with Dravya. So what Sari said, so we are preparing software for these identification products. Right? So in case of all parameters, we have started in the last month. So it's a software. Say if there are number of parameters, say identification point of view or how it look like, we will put all the parameters. And if this one is a plant, it's what we will take to that. So initially we have considered TTD model. Have you seen that? Traditional the TTD technical dose. That was a technical around there were 40 monographs were there. So CCS people know I think so around out of that 10 we have already published. We included all the data about 30 but that thing is the hard copy, not in the software. Now we have given this data in software. So all from all subjective from Ayurveda to your pharmacology, but we will include that. So it will be a software for the identification of this, not all knowledge of sampling. Yes, we will open this thing to all. But will we put this thing, then it will be open to the journal. If
They are giving that this much range of space and this much size. Everything they are giving. According to that, you see, different kinds of everything out of that, you need to
you mo-
similarly, we are going for that one also. Our original original one also we have to look at it. That is
Actually, for that we have to create spectral signatures. That is the correct word. We have to make spectral signature because it gives specific wavelength. We'll discuss. We are doing now a lot of other things. Saying DNA password, now we are doing DNA password for modern
such
yes,
machines,
yes, that's true, that's
software
true.
and machines.
That
In
is
the
just a
case of
prediction.
our raw drugs,
It is just prediction.
in this type of raw drugs, and somebody is needed.
Now,
That
you
is-
can see now, you say in case of multi-purpose, correct? If we have collected that plant material from 10 crores, so what you're talking